Is there anything that your body doesn't want to do today?
Pay attention to body movement, to body reaction, body language.
Do you think of the dance of how many movements can I make in 3 minutes? Or how can I build something with this person with the movements that I have?
Every piece of feedback and correction that I give is what I want, not what I don't want.
Sometimes we don't know what we like until we experience it.
I am listening to what the body doesn't want to do, but I'm really, really, really focused on what does the body want to do.
All of them said the word connection across the board. And all of them said, hold me, tuning in with me first.
Here is the problem. What they want is to please the other person, but they forget the most important, which is themselves. How can someone be so adaptable that you become exactly what your partner is looking for? Is it even possible to know what they want? Well, let's find out. Hello everyone, and welcome back to ZoukNerds. In this episode, we are taking inspiration from a question which we were asked in our last live Q&A. We will be talking about what we do when we're connecting in social dancing, how we do to adapt to any kind of dancer, and how do we go about trying to read our partner's mind and its desires. It's going to be a deep and wild ride. So, let's go. Hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode. My name is Alisson Sandi, and once again, we're joined by our beautiful co-host. Welcome back, Gui.
Welcome back, everybody. Hello, Alisson. Very excited for this episode. It's going to be a good one.
As always, we're trying to talk about what the community wants. And about 4 weeks ago now, we had our first ZoukNerds Q&A, which if you haven't joined yet, please go onto the Facebook groups or go into our Instagram and check the link in bio and join us for our next Q&A so we can help you out live. And while we were in our last Q&A, we actually had so many amazing questions in our last 3 Q&As. And today we actually want to talk about one of them. And that comes from Gregory, who asked, how do you be everything to everyone? How do you read what a partner wants? For example, a cozy dance or an active dance? So, how can we be the most adaptable possible? Or how can we mind read? How can we, see the future, pretty much? It's a question that both of us are like, bro.
Yeah.
If we knew the answer, that would have been something that, it would unlock all the portals and all the universes in the world.
Yeah. It's a hard one.
It's a hard one, but we're going to do our best to share our experience with you and how we answered that question, plus a few other things that we want to cover today. So, Guy, how do you go about seeing the future, adapting to your partner? Do you have a 3-step process or a 7-step process that you go through at the start of each dance to kind of try to read what the follower wants, in your case as a leader?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. And I would change it a little bit to say not that I am trying to figure out what the follower wants, because that I think I will know throughout the dance, as we go. And based on the cues that the body is giving for closeness, for distance, for activation, relaxation, that goes as we dance. In the first moment, what I'm trying to find is ease of motion. And I do have a step-by-step process that sometimes happens quicker or slower. It is more related to understanding the posture, seeing how it is to physically connect with my partner, whatever's in the open embrace or in the close embrace. And then from there, I'm also seeing the weight shift. And sometimes these things happen at the same time. Shifting weight together to notice how the spine moves from one leg to the other. A little bit of walks to see how we travel together. and body movements to see how the undulations are going on. And that helps me decide whether or not I'm going to do head movements, if it's even something I'll attempt to do with that person. And then from there, starting the dance with simpler movements and adding up in the complexity as we go. And then in this build up is that I make like the first decisions. Again, not sure what the follower wants. I think I don't know. I'll never know what the follower wants unless sometimes I ask, especially when we are through the night and I'm about to invite a follower and I'm noticing something on their body language that prompts the question. And then I ask, is there anything that your body doesn't want to do today? And sometimes it's like, no, good to go. All is good. Let's do it. And sometimes I get, oh, my neck is starting to bother me. Like, can we do very little of this or none of that other thing? And then I have the verbal cue. But normally it's mostly perceiving how the follower responds to the things that I'm leading. So if I notice any level of discomfort, then I do it less. If I notice difficulty, I will maybe go another route and see how we can build that movement together. But if I notice discomfort, I fall back a little bit and then building this way. So that's how I do. It's less about trying to find what the follower wants, but mostly trying to find ease of motion, whether it's less and less effort to execute the movements and to be together in a more present way, interaction, play, So that's how I go. That's what we initially can talk about personally. And what about you?
I think I follow the same process with kind of collecting reactions, right? So basically what you said, I'll start with trying to find the most natural ways that the body is moving, the body of my partner is moving and how they're reacting to mine and how we're building that conversation. So I try to think about it as a conversation. Imagine you're going for dinner with a friend. You say something and you kind of like catch if they're interested to talk about it or if they change topics or if their body language kind of, maybe is uninterested or maybe it's very excited. And I try to kind of throw a few things there and see what kind of reaction do I get. So to me, that's the kind of way that I go. But I don't necessarily go for like, what does the follower want? For me, it's more like, what does the follower not want? So what doesn't the follower want to do? That's where I'm going here. If I feel like something is happening and then I feel that the body's changing or there is a reaction that I don't connect with a positive reaction, then I go like, oh, okay, that was a little too much or that was not ideal. Plus, pay attention to body movement, to body reaction, body language. Those are the things that for me are very important at the very beginning of the dance. I normally say that I kind of go through a checklist, starting from the feet all the way to the top of the body. So, the way transfers, the knees, and then the hips, and then the spine, the arms, then the head, over, I don't know, maybe the first minute of the dance or the first few minutes of the dance, if I'm dancing longer dances, like 2 or 3 songs. But if I'm just dancing one song with a person, then it'll be a little bit faster. Because in the end of the day, for me, it's more like, this is what I feel. Do you feel any type of way very specifically? Or do you feel similar to me? Or you don't worry about it at all and you're just happy to go with the ride, whatever the ride is? That's the kind of information that I'm trying to get at first. Like I said, we don't know what's going on unless we ask verbally. And to be very honest, we are in a position of power most of the times as a teacher. So even if we do ask, Are we really getting a genuine, honest, open answer? I don't know. Maybe we are, maybe we're not. Maybe I'm overthinking. But I just think that a lot of the times people may not actually verbally tell us, just because either they don't want to tell us because they respect us as teachers, or they don't want to tell us because they trust us as dancers. So they're like, look, if it was somebody else, I would tell them not to do this. But with you, you got it. I know you. I trust you. You go for it. If there's anything that comes up, I'll let you know. But nah, just go for it. That's the kind of thing that I normally get when I ask. They'll tell me and say, look, let's see how it goes, and I'll let you know as I go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now that you're saying, I was thinking, was there a time that I asked the question and I got like a very specific way of dancing? And I can't remember, but maybe I did. Maybe I did. I just really can't remember right now.
I've had a
Because
few.
there is, sometimes it's like, no, do your thing. But I probably got some specific, but I don't remember right now. I just remember things about limitations. There was one time that I asked, is there anything your body doesn't want to do? And it happens that the person was having like a thing on their back that they couldn't do undulations. They asked me not to do undulations. And it was really interesting. I was introduced again to an unconscious thing that I do now, which is undulate very early in the dance. Like undulate. But I noticed that when I dance with the students in our Basics 1 course, Basics 2, because their undulation is still being developed, I undulate 0. But when I dance with someone in the social, I undulate. So my teacher dance doesn't undulate, my social dance undulates. And I realized myself, oh my God, going there. So I would catch myself all the time going to the undulations and needing to hold back. And I think something similar happens when a follower asks the leader not to do head movements. And they find themselves going there like, oh my gosh, because it's so autopilot.
It's almost like, don't look. And then you
Yes, exactly.
It's hard.
Like that.
It's hard. This is a little bit of a side note or maybe a detour, but it's something that I apply to my teaching. And for those of you who are teachers or assistants out there, this might be helpful. And for those of you who are students, also this might be helpful for you to share with your teachers. Many, many years ago, I started always giving the students what I want them to do, not what I don't want them to do. So as an instruction, I'll always ask them, hey, keep your shoulders lower. Hey, slow down your footwork. Like every piece of feedback and correction that I give is what I want, not what I don't want. Because whenever I say like, stop lifting your shoulders or don't rush your timing or something like that, I'm not necessarily telling them what needs to be done. I'm just telling them what's not to be done. That's the first. And the second is kind of like when you give somebody that feedback that is focused on the negative, that's what they focus on. They focus on the negative. And it can just be like, oh, now I'm going to be overcorrecting, or it can actually be emotional to the point that they are just not feeling good anymore. But if I just go there and say, hey, good footwork, good this, but make sure that your arms are connected to your partner, then that's it. That's what I would like to. And that's kind of like what I'm now connecting to the dance. That's the way that I'm trying to connect and be everything to everybody. I'm trying to get the positives. When I'm dancing with somebody, I am listening to what the body doesn't want to do constantly. I'm listening, but I'm really, really, really focused on what does the body want to do. What are the positive things that the body is telling me that it wants more? Maybe smaller movements, maybe bigger movements, maybe slower movements, maybe faster movements, maybe a more elastic frame, maybe a more present frame, or maybe so many other things. So this is really what I'm focusing on. And this is what I suggest you guys to do, to focus on what is the body asking for in a positive way. And at the same time, always listening when the body is asking for something to stop or for less of something, for sure. Yeah, I think that's kind of like the second part of it.
Yeah. And this comes into like what I think is a very sensitive topic and like a problem that we have in our modern society, in our modern ways, is this enormous lack of awareness of your own body, what your own body is doing. And then even like, let's say worse, the awareness of what the other body is doing, requesting, wanting. And sometimes there is this expectation that the other body is listening to yours fully and that your partner should have known dot dot dot, should have listened dot dot dot. You know, I was so clear in my intention that I dot dot dot. You know, oh, I did the thing, but my partner didn't do anything, so dot dot dot. You know, so there are all these assumptions, and of course we make these assumptions in the sense of like we do a movement and we notice the response, and we go. So we make an assumption that the response to the movement was well received. Yes, the response to the movement was positive in the sense that it was made, it was easy, no problem. The thing that I notice is I think people are not aware, connected with effort. The amount of effort that something is being required, you know, like to do a movement. My body is doing so much effort. The body of my partner is doing so much effort to complete that movement. And then I notice people going again and again and again. And I don't know if they are trying to figure out the effort, if they are just trying to make the movement happen, or what is it that is making someone continuously stay in the effort. And I say, for example, a classic case, Alisson, that we see so much of a leader and a follower, where the leader is constantly trying to lead something and the follower is constantly not being led in that thing. Man, this happened in class last week, where the guy was trying to lead the follower into lateral and the follower was not going because they were not understanding. And then I counted. I said 1, 2, 3. I was watching. By the 6th time, I walked over and I said, did you notice that you tried to lead her into lateral 6 times in a row and she didn't go? As he was about to lead a 7th time. So what is that? You know, like if you come to that man and said, you should have stopped on the 3rd time, he's not thinking of like, she's not coming, I will stop. He's thinking like, she's not coming, I gotta make her come back, you know? So I think it's something related to how you think of the dance. And this is a question that I'm making students. I spent the last 2 weeks talking about this. I asked the leaders, how do you think of the dance? Do you think of the dance of how many movements can I make in 3 minutes? Or do you think of the dance, how can I build something with this person with the movements that I have? And gladly, the students were very honest and said, the leaders, I'm talking about the leaders. They said, yes, I'm thinking of the dance right now in how many movements I can do in the time that I have. And I think that's a very normal mindset to have in the beginning, that you are learning the language and you are trying to remember the words that you learned and the sentences that you know how to put together. As you progress, though, I think it would be amazing if we could develop the awareness to go from how many movements can I do in 3, 4, 5 minutes to how can I do these movements in a way that will reduce efforts. And effort, I mean, really like imagine that case of the leader trying to lead the follow 6 times into lateral. Or in our practica, sometimes that I notice the follow just came in, it's their first day, and the leader is trying to lead head movements. And they go
Bro.
1, 2, 3, 4. And the person's like this. And then before I intervene, I'm just observing. And I was like, what is happening in that moment? The other person is right there. It's like they're looking at them. They're seeing what is happening, but my mind released from the should. He should stop. I don't think that they should stop. I just think, what is happening? And then I go and I say, please don't do this to her. And then we continue. Some of those things that are really, for me, like a demonstration that we are not thinking of the dance yet in terms of how can I build. Right now is more like, what can I do? And as long as we think, what can I do? We're gonna fall into this issue of maybe trying to guess what the partner wants, or assuming that my partner should have understood my cue, or I think I was clear enough. This is the thing. I think it makes it really hard to respond to this question in a direct way, because there are all these variables then.
Yeah, last night I had a session with my training team, and we did a whole session on just basically this topic of connection and adaptability, and trying to understand how to dance in your body, but become one with the next person, which is, for me right now, just as hard to describe as it is to dance and to do it. So we started with some exercises of like, dance in your body. Feel the music in your body. Feel what does your body want to do right now in this music. Does it want to go bigger, smaller, slower, faster, smoother, broken? Understand what does your body want to do. So we did a lot of exercises on that. And then we moved on to your partner. So I put followers. Followers, you're going to decide what the dance becomes. So basically, leaders, right now, you're not in the position to make decisions. You're going to always adapt. Leaders, always adapt. Your turn will come later. But followers, feel the music, and you decide the texture, you decide the speed, you decide the size. The leaders can continue leading the movements and doing as if they're social dancing. So leaders are not necessarily like waiting for the follower, which was kind of an issue on the first 2 minutes. So I had to stop the music and go like, okay, everybody stop. Leaders, I don't want you to just wait and stare at your follower. I would like you to continue dancing, but your follower will change how the movement happens, not which movement happens. Okay,
Yes.
so continue. And it was great. And they learned how to do that. And followers were trying it a little too nice. So I had to ask them to go like, come on, followers, get out of it, get out of your head and go for it. And then they had fun. They had a lot of fun. And then we switched, leaders do it. And at the end of the class, I could see it. And the students were talking about it. They could feel how much more fun they were having because they were dancing with their body and they were dancing with somebody. So I told them, here is the problem with most of the people in the social dancing community. What they want is to dance and please the other person, but they forget the most important, which is themselves, right? So leaders are doing whatever they can to please the followers, to make sure that the followers are okay. Followers are doing whatever they can to please the leaders, to make sure that the leaders are okay. But they're not paying attention to how they feel. They're not paying attention to what they want. They're not paying attention to anything for themselves. And I feel like this is you coming into the dance empty and not really being fully present. It's kind of like, I put into perspective again, going out for dinner with a friend, and you're there, and your friend is only talking about things that you like, saying things that you like to hear, and doing things to make you laugh. Providing that maybe this is a situation where both of you feel good enough, okay? I'm not saying a situation where you need that, but in a situation that both of you are doing well, it feels awkward. And it feels like there's pressure, right? Now, imagine both of you go to the restaurant, both of you sit down and you start talking about something, the other person start talking about something else, and the conversation goes into like 10 different directions. It's kind of like 10 different tabs open at the same time, but you can keep up and you can have fun and you forget something and the thing just flows. But very, very naturally, that's kind of like what you want to have in a dance. At least that's what I want to have in a dance. I want to have a dance that I feel like I'm not doing less to put me in a position that I'm the best leader for my follower. And I wouldn't want my follower to do less to put themselves in a position to feel like the best follower to me. I want my follower to have the most fun, and I want to have the most fun, and both of us meet in the middle. And sometimes my follower is leading the way, sometimes I'm leading the way. However that is, whatever that means. It could mean by actually changing movements and changing what we're doing, or it could just mean texture, it could mean anything. And at the end, I did one last exercise, which was the scary one. I was like, okay, guys, last exercise. This is going to be very uncomfortable, especially for me. But you're going to look into each other's eyes as much as possible throughout the dance. And the whole room got really giggly and nervous. And some people started walking to the door. And I'm like, no, come back. You're not running away. Come on, just one dance. We're all going to try to really look into each other's eyes. And this is something that I also have to train because of things in my head. And it was so nice to see that the people who are usually the most shy and the most like reserved, they were the ones who were like the most open to do it. Mm-hmm. And the playful people who are usually like cracking jokes and saying things, they're the ones who were like had the most fear to look into somebody's eyes. And then I closed the session and I told them, look, a long time ago when I was listening to a podcast, a doctor was talking about how when we're trying to look into somebody's eyes and you feel uncomfortable, a lot of the times the problem is not because of that person. It's more like we're scared of what's inside of us and scared of showing to that person through our eyes connections what's inside of us. So like the fear is not like, oh, what are they thinking? Are they judging me? It's more like we don't realize, but we feel uncomfortable within ourselves. So then we don't want to like create that connection that could possibly make that person see too much of you. And then everybody was just like, wow. And I'm like, yeah. Outside of the class, we're leaving the studio and we were talking because my team is like, it's called ZoukNerds team because they're really, really ZoukNerds. We're still talking about it as we went to the metro station. And I told them, I said, look, when you're talking to somebody who in whatever part of your life is in a lower authority or credit than you, it's very easy to look into their eyes. But when you're talking to somebody and trying to look into their eyes, and they're somebody that you respect, somebody that you admire, somebody that you maybe idolize, it's really hard to look into somebody's eyes. And I was telling them, for example, I discovered that because when I'm teaching a private lesson, I don't even think about it. I'm like eye to eye. I'm locked eyes with my student 100% of the time. But when I am the student in the private lesson, for me, it's so hard to look into the teacher's eyes when I'm talking to them as a student myself. And then I kind of realized that it's a sign of like weakness, of like not wanting them to see the fears and the things that I'm going through.
Yeah, it's vulnerability, né?
Exactly.
The look in the eye is very much related to that.
Yeah, and for example, even with my dance partner, with Christina, it's part of our training because I idolize her. Christina is a beautiful monster alien of a dancer. And if anything goes wrong, I just think, oh, I could have done something better. You know, like, I don't think it's her. And I think it goes both ways. So a lot of the times we have to tell ourselves and go like, hey, now let's kind of stop the technique training. Let's just train us. Let's look. Let's dance for each other. Let's really focus on us. Because we normally go too nerdy and too technical into so many things because we love that. But then we have to always intentionally remind ourselves, hey, come back and let's just dance. That's a very long way to explain the arc of how I go through when it comes to teaching, when it comes to how would you do that in a training session for everybody who is listening, whether you're a student or a dancer. Maybe go back, write a couple of things down, add some of your own things. Also, maybe go back to a few other episodes ago when we talked about flow and connection, how to create the flow, how to create connection. There are some other golden bits there. And while you're there, please make sure to follow and subscribe all of our channels, Spotify, Instagram, YouTube, to help us continue making this content for you guys that we love so much. But yeah, continue here with us because the next few episodes that we are planning, we'll be talking more about this kind of interaction, but in a different way.
Yes. Yeah. Because it's so fascinating that what you were talking about. You started the class with embodiment, people feeling their own bodies and then going to adapting. Basically, now that you are in your own body, now that you enjoy your own movements, receive the other person's invitation and create something together. What I have been noticing is people really rely on the other person for their well-being. Their well-being is a direct result of what somebody else can give to them. And that ends up taking away the autonomy that that person has to take care of their own well-being. And then that creates like a series of expectations, like we were talking about, expectations and assumptions to what the other person has to know about or has to be aware of. And the more that we come to like an open-mindedness of like, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what that person's going to do. I don't know the level of awareness of that person. However, I have awareness of my own body and I understand what my own body can do at this point and cannot do, is comfortable with and it's uncomfortable with. And that's something else. We need to open like a little, because sometimes we don't know what we like and don't know what we don't like until we experience it. Several times I did the leaders training where we asked the followers to communicate to the leader, tell them exactly how you'd like them to dance with you. And in the first rounds of this exercise, they take a long time, mostly because they never stop to think about that because the opportunity never presented itself. So that is something really interesting to start thinking, what is it that I like? What is it that I enjoy receiving when I'm social dancing that I like to do? And this changes from moment to moment, song to song. But there is maybe a underlying understanding of what is it that you like. For example, in this other class, I asked the leaders, tell the followers, what do you think they want on a good leader? And they gave responses related to clarity, decision, movements, cool movements, interesting movements. One of them said interesting movements. And there was some variation between one leader and the other. However, all the followers in class, all of them, we have 7 followers in class, 7 or 8. All of them said the word connection across the board, and all of them said in a way or the other, hold me, tuning in with me first. All of them. Because we were, thank God, even. Guys, the joy of a dance teacher is when the class is even. Same number of leaders, same number of followers. We go to bed, with a restful mind.
Yeah.
The leaders said different things, more or less around the same, but they didn't have like a common word like the followers had, connection. And I asked the followers, what does that word mean to you? What does connection mean to you? And again, every time you ask that question, you need to leave some time for the person to process what connection means to them, because it's a very broad umbrella term. And then all of them said presence. And I said, what presence means to you? And then again, buffer time, because again, another umbrella term. And then we all came to this conclusion. presence in the touch, like how you connect. You're not just simply putting the hand on my arm. You are mindfully resting your hand on my arm. And like Alisson said, the connection, the recognition of the presence through eye gazing, like looking into the eye for the whole time, but from time to time, looking and smiling. And this was like really, really fascinating because we decided in this last 2 weeks to stop talking about movements and patterns. We are talking about these aspects of social dancing who are so important. Tuesday, we did a class on posture. And I thought with myself and told the assistant with me, I told Sarah, let's not do the technical aspect of posture. Let's go into the subjective. Then we did a posture game. And I said, everybody, I'm going to say a couple words and you do the posture of the word. And then I said, elegant. And everybody like, don't. And then I said, yes, peacock. And then I said, confidence. And they got a little less peacocky, but still chest open, shoulders down. And then I said, relaxed confidence. You know what they did? They shifted weight. And then I said, now you are shy. And everybody went down. Now you're scared. But confident again. And we did all these things. And just like that, posture was good. I didn't even talk about the spine that aligns the weight that goes here. And then I said, oh my God, Jaime Rocha, the man is
yeah.
because
that was very much.
That's how I learned posture, my friends. Elegant, confident, swagger. And then we did an exercise. I say, I'm going to play a music and you do the posture of the music. Then I played Quando, which is a song that we play for Bolero, the version from Michael Bublé. People want the elegance. You know, then I asked people, can you change posture over from elegant to confident to relaxed confidence? I want to see your body change. And a couple of students, literally 2 of them, I could clearly see the change, you know, and that prompted a conversation, a body conversation between the leader and the follower, where the follower is also adjusting. And that is something really powerful in my experience. And I said this before, I think in an episode, the luck that I had of having had really powerful followers in my journey that showed me the way. And in the Taiwan Zouk Festival this year, I remember, I'm going to say her name because she's one of the queens. I was dancing with Nina in the festival party, and she was like...
Which Nina? We have so many Ninas.
Which Nina? Curly Nina.
Nina Darbello.
Nina Darbello. I was dancing with Nina Darbello, and one of the socials, fire. You know, like, so she brought me to the state that I was doing all these things. I was sweating, bro. I don't sweat very much. I was sweating, drinking.
Jill was doing All Stars Jack and Jill.
I was doing All Stars Jack and Jill. At the social, the next Monday, the woman was tired.
As everybody was.
Yes. Man, but she embraced me and her energy was like, you know? And she took a nap in my arms a little bit, you know? And she said, oh, that's what I needed. How do I know? She told me, not verbally, but just doing a basic. She went forward on the basic on the party. I knew what was, I knew like she's going down. And then I took a step back. She went forward in that social on Monday. I was like, we're going to chill today. You know, so the body gives more travel and the body is like, and no, can we just, you know? So powerful follower clearly shows what their body wants to do. It's not expecting me to do certain things. It's hoping maybe that I will tune in, but she's in their body. She's embodied intensely. So that's how, as a leader, we can learn by really tuning in. And that's the thing that I wish for the leaders, that one day they see the movement not by how many things I can do in this time that I have, but how can I do them effortlessly with this partner. And I think when we get there, we're going to have a really nice general social dance experience, no matter the country you are, the scene that you are, or how big or small the community is.
That's very powerful, very strong. But I was thinking, as a student here, do you think that it takes a lot of confidence to do that? Confidence in your own dance, or confidence that the other person is not going to judge you for doing that? Because, for example, thinking as a student, if I do that as I'm dancing with somebody's just going to go like, that person is so terrible to dance with. They have no energy and they just, that kind of like thing that gets into your head. So I'm thinking this as a student, or let me correct, I'm thinking this as a social dancer, right? Because sometimes I'm tired and I want to continue dancing, but I don't dance because I'm not comfortable with expressing that kind of energy with everybody. You know, I look in the room and I'm like, I want to dance, but the kind of dance that I want to have, I don't feel comfortable expressing it with the people that are wanting to dance.
Yeah.
So it's not even with the people. It's more like this kind of energy is something that I find very special. And I would like to have somebody that I trust a lot.
The cozy one, like the slow, tired one?
Yeah, not the slow and the lyrical one, but the tired one. The one that I want to dance, but I would like this dance to be like minus 100% expectations and just whatever, just go, like I don't feel comfortable enough doing that with everybody.
Yeah, me neither. I was really bad in watching my battery go low. Really bad. I was dancing and all of a sudden I was like, I don't want this anymore. It felt like sudden. Just take me out of here. Now I'm better at watching the battery. I realize it going low. What does the battery mean? Is the battery openness to do everything with everybody? I normally get to the social with the battery super full, and depending on the music, the space, the people, I use the battery more or less. And sometimes, by the middle of the social, it's 30%. And then there is this thing. I don't want to dance with everybody in this state that my body is. I want the people that I trust. I want the people that I know is going to hold me with competence, with care, We have an expression in Brazil that I used to use when I go to Brazil. It's like bagaço da laranja, which is when you are just, that the bottom of...
It's whatever is left of the orange once you already squeeze the juice out of it.
Exactly.
Just whatever, the skin.
And, and I said, look, I'm just that right now. Is that okay with you? And they never said, no, it's not okay, because I go to the people that I have trust. Sometimes when another person comes to me and I am in that state, I give that prompt. Like, look, my energy is completely depleted. Is it okay if we just shift weight? And the person, yeah, sure. And then we go and then we adapt and we go like that. But I more vigilant to my energy, my physical, mental energy to dance with everybody. And notice when the time has come to seek out those who I trust and go to them a little bit. So like find that support somewhere. And I've learned to accept that that's okay. That's good because sometimes dance with them, boop, fills the battery back up. And then I can go out again. So everybody has their recharging people around. And most places I go, I have one or two.
And that gets us into a whole different topic that we shall continue in another episode. For example, can I feel good about saying no to a couple of people, but then saying yes to another person because I know that that person is somebody that I trust to dance with in that type of energy that I am? Because I'm thinking here, how many times in the social I want to continue dancing, but only with a certain type of energy. And then a couple of people ask me to dance and I say, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not dancing. I'm too tired. I'm done for the night. And then comes somebody who I know can do that energy and match me. And I can almost feel like they're at that level as well. And they would enjoy that kind of dancing. And I want to say yes, but then I say no. Because I'm like, I just said no that I'm done dancing to like 3 or 4 followers. And then all of these followers will see me dancing with this other dancer. And I feel bad. And I imagine how they feel, So that's a whole nother topic, how to navigate saying yes, saying no, or like how to navigate the fact that sometimes we want to choose. Like, it's just, why is it bad? Why is it labeled as bad when you choose just because I'm in a teacher position? I shouldn't choose? Or is it because nobody should choose? A whole nother episode that I hope you guys can come back to.
That one is so hard.
I know.
It's something that we were also talking about in class because people don't want to be rude. That's what they say. So yeah, it's gonna be like a good one, a good thing to talk about further.
Yes. So thank you so much, everybody, for being here once again with us. Once again, please go to our pages on Instagram, Spotify, and YouTube, and please follow, subscribe, like, do all the things, or maybe even leave a review. That will help us a lot continuing all this work that we do here at ZoukNerds. And we also have another ZoukNerds Q&A coming up. So please check our link in the bio of Instagram, and you should see the dates there. And for now, we'll see you on the next one. So thank you. Beijos. Abraços. And ciao, everybody. See you on the next one.
Ciao, everyone.